everyone. Let's record our podcast. This is the Replay Cafe. This is the part Jake always does. This is a Replay Cafe bi-weekly, now bi-monthly talkcore gaming podcast. My name's Alex, and I am joined by three special guests to promote a very cool, very musical February event. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Sure.
Absolutely. I'm Steve McGhee. I'm the artistic director for Opera MODO, which is the company that's putting on this fabulous production.
Oh, and I am Danielle Wright, the executive director of Opera MODO.
I'm Jack Cowper. I will be co-directing this production, and I'm really happy to be here.
So let's not bury the lead here. Let's just jump in and let's talk about what we are putting on, when we are putting it on. That way, anybody who wanted to only listen for 5 minutes has everything they need to know.
Sure. We are doing an updated version of Mozart's The Magic Flute, set in retro 80s game times. We are calling it #Superflute, and it's being performed here at Replay Cafe on Friday, February 18th and Saturday, February 19th at 7:30 p.m.
Boom.
There it is.
No more information needed.
I should have brought my fan to clack so I could have had a button on it.
Ticket info at operamodo.com.
Yes, not yet. We'll have a save the date up this week.
Who knows when this thing will get posted?
TBD.
Everything in 2022 already TBD.
Just all TBD. So we are very excited because obviously you've presented us with an opportunity to provide some culture to our uncultured gaming swine that listen to this podcast, and put it in a framework that they maybe resonate with or feel familiar with, and we get some iconic characters right out of the gate, and we'll also obviously be sharing across our social media, so they'll be able to click whatever buttons we want them to click.
Whoa, you can make them do that?
Oh yeah, we've got total mind control over these freaks.
I mean, I'll say this much: opera is not scary, and it's not for just rich old white people. It's interesting, athletic performing from these incredibly badass singers, and the fact that we're reinterpreting the characters as something that's more memorable. That may also be very copyrighted, so we can't give you actual names, but you'll recognize
like
what we're talking about.
Mario, and Dronky Krong.
It's a nostalgia trip for sure. And even if people have never seen an opera, don't really know much about opera, they should still come to this, because this is actually my debut as a director in opera, being involved in opera in that way. Normally it's just musical theater or straight theater. So this is my first time dipping my toes in the opera community, and I have a lot of respect for it. And I think it's one of those shows that has the crossover to bring in all these different types of people, such as myself. And it's given me this great adoration for opera, and it really is, like Steve said, it's athletic. Yeah, they do. Wow. Yeah.
Crazy things.
There's also dialogue. It's also in English.
English.
So nothing to translate. There will be super titles and projected scenes, kind of like gaming backdrops, really, but also costumes and props and stuff.
Yeah, it's just going to feel like you're getting told a cosplay story, but also being sung at, which some of us are used to with music theater. And it's pretty much like music theater, especially because it has dialogue in this one, and just a different way to use a vocal instrument.
Dialogue, English, and familiarity. You're definitely taking the fear out of, I think of some big, bulky Italian,
Right.
And,
not here.
No.
Not on my watch.
Not on my watch. We don't listen to that shit.
That's right.
There are tons of versions of this show that probably plenty of people have seen on YouTube, or at least like an aria or something cool from it. There's a character in it called the Queen of the Night, which I think was like a Whitney Houston song back in the 90s.
The Queen of the Night.
Right. And I don't know if that's a reference to this show, but it's just convenient. There's just some incredible music that's also pretty famous, and people may or may not have seen like a parrot sing it on YouTube or something, or some little Austrian boy.
If they haven't, we're going to make sure that they see at least a couple moments or things or gets familiar with the song through our TikTok probably.
There we go.
The
as a way to
TikToks.
promote. That way we can really push it on these teenagers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to like opera.
Yeah, come hell or high water.
But so outside of this, you guys are music geeks. It's your whole life.
Well, yeah, we're not just music geeks. We're like geeks and like
Geeks.
dorks, right?
Yeah.
Like, I spent many a year playing Dungeons and Dragons. I can't allow myself to play video games because I have an obsessive trait, and then I'll be in a hole for days. So I stick to board games, tabletops, and then just like fun things like Mario Party and group activities. Nothing story based because I just know myself and I'll become addicted like I did when Roller Coaster Tycoon came out.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I was a sim theme park kid, so same idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just a micromanager. Nothing gets me off quite like
This
micromanaging.
ride has to increase here, and it's going to cost you $14, and now the bathrooms are going to cost you
$2, yes. And then I love the claw picky up, like I'm like the god with my claw, and I'm like, oh, you want me to drop that panda at you? Fine, be entertained. What do you feel like now, bitch? And I may or may not have not finished roller coasters, so people would have died. I mean, what? It's fine.
Just the ones who complained.
That's right. Everybody, you get a free ticket to this one.
Well, that is an interesting background. What about,
As a gamer, yeah, of all the
what
things.
about you guys?
I'm a hardcore gamer. I play games pretty much every day in some way. I'm hardcore in that I do it a lot. I like the story games. I do get sucked in sometimes too, but yeah.
What's the last thing that hooked you?
I just repicked up Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Oh, wow.
After watching all those movies, I was like, this is a fun game. It's like playing through another one of the movies ish. It's a MMORPG version. I mean, people know what this is, but
Are you playing light side, dark side?
I like a light side.
Do you have a color preference on lightsaber?
I just restarted, and I got, when I bought the game years ago, there was some sort of special package you got with it. So when I got the lightsaber, I actually unlocked it this afternoon. I used that special purple crystal. It's like a yellow halo with a black core. It looks really cool, kind of like gold. It's neat.
Have you ever tried to play through any of the Old Republic games and not done Jedi stuff? Like just blasters?
Yeah, I always have desire. I start characters like that, and then I get busy. And to be honest with you, the game has aged mostly well, except that all the quests require so much time listening to them talk in whatever alien language and full of beeps and boops that they want to do. Exactly. And I'm like, can we fast forward this? And I don't think you can. Wow.
Amazing.
You should do voices for them. That'd be perfect.
Hello, somebody hire me.
But I'm told you can make romantic advances to just about anybody in the game, which is pretty cool. And so I'm like, I want to play around with that.
Oh, have you made any yet?
I mean, I just started. I'm not cool
Can I
enough
go
to have
ahead
that.
and put that on our Valentine's Day list of games now?
Yes.
RPG
Yeah,
Star Wars dating simulator?
absolutely.
Ooh.
Just
Like you can
have
pull
to
up
give
your
them gifts.
grinder instead of your lightsaber? Is that like it's like is that an option?
I mean, I think we still call it the lightsaber.
Oh.
Just- there it is.
Heyo. Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Whoa.
I've been playing Breath of the Wild for the first time recently, over the holidays particularly. I'm always a big kind of Blizzard geek fan. I like some World of Warcraft and some Diablo, StarCraft. I'm terrible at it. Absolute garbage. But yeah, I've played a lot of... Jack and I got together a couple times ago and played a bunch of Mario Kart.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was fun.
Which one?
Deluxe, the one
Okay,
for the
the new
Switch.
one, yeah.
And we may or may not be making the cast do that too. I say make them, strongly encourage. I'm not going to tape them down with a controller in their hand.
Well, then maybe after the show, we end up having a little Mario Kart off and see. See just who's the best.
We could.
We're gonna have to turn off bumpers though, because I found out that there was like a really easy mode.
What?
Did you know about this?
No.
There's some weird mode where it basically will not let you fall off the map. We did a tournament here, and I realized, I was like, why am I doing so well? I feel like I should be falling off, and I found I didn't turn it off.
Does it come pre-selected on?
Yeah, usually it's on.
Oh.
I was just
that
like,
means we
man,
played with it, probably.
I'm nailing
probably.
these turns.
Yeah.
I cannot.
That's crazy
Wow.
because it was my first time ever playing, and I was like, wow, like, I don't know how I'm doing so
I'm a
good.
god.
I'm like first or second place every time. Like, wow, I must have,
The
you know what I mean?
difference is crazy. Like, I was like, well, it might have helped me a little. We started playing once I turned them off, and it was just like, vroom, vroom. And I'm pretty good at Mario Kart, so I was like, this is a little upsetting. I'm a Mario Kart 64, like, that was I had the frickin' Game Informer or whatever. I did the jump over Wario's Raceland every frickin' time.
Okay.
It was,
Whoa.
yeah.
So
That's
you had
incredible.
an N64.
Oh, yeah.
See, I was a Super Nintendo kid growing
Yeah.
up, and we still have at my parents' house the original, from 1994 or whatever, Super Nintendo, and the cartridges, you gotta like blow it off and put it in. I was
That's what she said.
really deep into the Donkey Kong games was my
Donkey Kong
thing
Country?
when I was Donkey Kong Country, and then 2 and 3, like all three of them. We were just like,
Wait until I tell you that we have everything that you're talking about here in my original Super Nintendo from when I was a young boy.
Wow.
nice,
have
nice.
So
a sleepover
outside of
here.
that, what
Yeah.
are you playing modernly, Jack?
Modernly, here's much like Danielle, when I get into a game, I get like a little bit too committed into it. So for me, the last one that I really got sucked into the world of was Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2. I think that came out in 2018,
Probably.
and it just like so beautifully captures this open world of the Wild West. And I grew up watching Westerns with my dad, so that's just something that I have like affection towards. And over the holidays, I was playing that and getting sucked into that, and then I went back and played. They have a 2004 game for called Red Dead Revolver, which was like the first one, so it was kind of fun to go back and play the original game from 2004 too.
You get to see the progression of how this franchise has grown.
Yeah, which is, I just think that Rockstar has been really good at telling stories in their games lately. Like, they spend several years developing these crafted, like, nuanced. It's really cool. That's what I've been into.
Again, I'm part of my own uncultured swine. I was very excited for Red Dead 2 because I had such fond memories of Red Dead Redemption and playing online and playing with my brother and stuff like that. And so we all got it. But I am not... when it comes to video games, for some reason, narratives I just don't connect with. Movies, films, writing, like I went to school for screenwriting, so like I should be big on narratives. And something about playing, I want to skip through all the bullshit, and I just want to control my guy and do my thing. And I found Red Dead to be so slow that I just couldn't really get into it.
Totally, that makes sense.
That's my controversial take.
It does. Well, it's a big time commitment. You know, it takes.
I was like cutting wood, and I was like, "What am I getting out of this? I want to go kill some police officers and see how high my wanted level gets."
There we go.
You can do that. I have this problem where like I go into the forest and I just like hunt for 6 hours. And I'm like, why am I looking for this bear right now? I don't know. That's
I
what I do.
couldn't stop myself from being a bandit. I'm driving on the road and I see another guy on a horse, and I'm like, well, that guy's dead. There's a sociopathic tendency. As soon as I see another person, I'm just like, ah! And then the multiplayer aspect I didn't like because the auto aim is so strong. So it didn't feel like there was any skill to like having a revolver or a rifle or anything. It was just like lock on, fire, headshot. Okay, cool.
You mean like the online mode?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I haven't played that. I'm just like deep into the story.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm very much like almost exclusively a multiplayer game person now.
Like PvP kind of guy?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So what do you play these days?
League of Legends, Valorant, Warzone when I can find time. So Warzone is a game that my brother and I play together. He lives in Australia, so we're on a 12-hour time difference. So we carve out a chunk with a couple other guys and try to play every other week. And it's been pretty good, but the Warzone's got its own whole slew of issues, which has made us kind of fall off the map on it. We got to find a new game. They've been playing without me because I'm trapped in my own designed prison. But Valorant has been very fun. I've been playing with some of the team members here because we just started these in-house teams and we're working on building some leagues of our own. And we just had a meeting with Renaissance High School, so we're hopefully building out some high school esports stuff and acting as the technology lab for Detroit Public Schools moving forward. And
oh, wow. So
That's
you do
awesome.
like tournaments and stuff?
we do tournaments, we do open gaming. Yeah, I mean, basically it's just like whatever somebody wants to do, we're going to find a way to make it work for them.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty much what you did for us when we figured out that we would like to perform here.
Yeah, you said gaming and stage, and we were like, those are our 2 check marks. Okay.
Where do we sign? But
Yeah.
speaking of open play, we're also going to have some really cool VIP packages where people can come see the opera Superflute and then stay after for an open play game night until like 1 a.m. So that's going to be fun.
We can stay open till 2. I'm going to say it right here.
Whoa, we're going to say, whoa.
If you guys in the cast want to go home early because you got other stuff that you got to prepare for the next day and stuff, but I'll keep it open till 2 for some of these, some of my swine.
I don't know. I think the best things happen after 1 a.m., so I'll be here.
That's the after dark gaming party. Ooh.
Do we have a lock-in situation? Is it
I can
sleeping
lock the
bags on the
doors
floor?
and close everything up,
Okay,
and
cool.
might get a little bit freaky. We've had some freaky events in this space occasionally. We've
Can
got
only imagine.
we've got a. I don't know if it's widely known. I don't know if we talk about it on the podcast. I don't know who listens. But we do have like a kink-friendly studio upstairs that does some crazy stuff, and they had some lessons down here when we were closed one afternoon, and
Cool.
so Replay's no stranger to the art, the dark arts, you know.
It's such a cool space. It feels like it's, creative.
Yeah.
and safe and welcoming. So,
Yeah, it's got a great vibe in here.
yeah.
Yeah, which is like, I think too, it's like such a negative connotation when you go or when you hear, or in my personal experience, going into a gaming place, it always feels very like dungeony and dark, and it just feels so like full of life in here in the best way possible.
We're still working on lighting because that was always our biggest concern. Was that why come here? I mean, there's places out there that are like leaning into it. Like there's a place in I think Wisconsin or Minnesota that's like not your parents' basement is their name. So
Wow.
like it's widely known that
Yeah.
there's these connotations and these stereotypes, and the biggest thing is trying to alleviate the place of odors on occasion. Gamers are stinky. You guys gotta shower more. Quit coming here without showering. This is why I have to call you swine. But like breaking all those stereotypes down and making it a friendly space and a safe space and a place for all kinds of gamers, whether it's tabletop and role-playing or board games or video games and retro. And now we've got the Japanese arcade from Psychic Drive out there. So we're offering a lot. There's a lot of rhythm games. Stuff is coming in that's more casual. It's not all esports. Some places are like so strict about like, here are the 12 games we offer. They're the top esports titles. It's like, okay, but
What else?
what if I want to play, something? I can't even think of one that's not off the top of my head. Oh boy. But yeah, so just having something for everyone.
Yeah, it's really nice. I like that it seems like you have a lot of things, but it's also like a very open space.
Yeah.
It feels like breathable in here, What are you guys' plans? Do you have any plans of doing more things with the space?
I don't know if anyone listens, so I'll go ahead and spill the beans on everything. We are in the process of looking at Replay 2.0 and putting something in Corktown that's about triple the size.
Wow. Good for you.
With food, restaurant, coffee, event space, offices, creative, working with other businesses to make this happen. We're in the funding phase. That's why I'm so frickin' tired. We had 3 meetings today. Probably none of them went well, but that's fine. you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Whatever, Michael Scott. So that's kind of what we're working on, kind of transitioning to that space and how we can adjust prices to make it both affordable and casual, but also big and open and a spectacle simultaneously. And then potentially utilizing this space for other things in terms of like nonprofit work, offering up the space specifically to school districts that need esports labs, event space, and just trying to make sure that if we have to keep the space, we'll make it work for everybody. And if we can cut it and utilize the other space 100%, we will. But
I think that's really smart. I think it's super smart, especially like given all this talk that's going on about metaverse and like things that are coming in the future, for you to have a space cultivating this type of environment. That was really smart of you.
yeah, and the next space will definitely have a lot more VR. My other job or business that I run is a photography company that actually 3D scans spaces. So we're talking about on that front how we can actually create metaverse, basically real life spaces in the metaverse, because we're collecting the 3D data. So, I'm trying to be on the forefront of everything. I got all these big brains up here, just not no energy to accomplish anything.
Totally.
But the other question we always ask our guests, I guess there's two. It's what's your first gaming memory, and what is your role if you have any siblings? Because we've found that like the single player games, or rather, I guess not single player. So let me rephrase it. Those without siblings, what's that called? Only child?
Yes.
Only children?
And we have two
a
here.
much different dynamic in gaming than those with siblings, and how they're like introduced to it. So I'd be curious to hear, and like, what's your first gaming memory, or what's your first game you remember playing?
I'll start just because I've got it right in my top of my brain, give other people's time to think. I'm an only child, and I will say that I think I like the ability to just sit and go into a world. That's probably why I like the narrative games. And it was a way for me to, I don't know if I needed to escape, but find a different feeling of belonging or community or whatever. And when I did actually get involved with World of Warcraft, I think within the first year of its time, and met friends and stuff, I was like, this is awesome. And I didn't even know that much about the other person, but we would just get together and quest and level and have a good time. And I don't talk to them now, but then there are people I met subsequently who I do talk to now, who have become friends in life, which is pretty cool. So no sibling experiences, but some of my first experiences with gaming were with friends I met at school, and we became closer friends because we wanted to hang out and play games together, usually at their house.
Was your first system like something that was purchased for like a holiday, or do you remember?
My first system was a Commodore 64. It wasn't for gaming, but of course I was excited that we could do some gaming.
Yeah.
And then of course I got an NES at 1.2. I don't remember if I got it for the holiday. It sounds like that would be possible. I don't remember though. I remember playing a stupid game on the Apple IIe at school that was it was like a turtle drawing game. Or the typing games, or like a real game would have been on the Atari. I had an Atari as well, so that was actually my first system. I forgot about that.
Yep.
So I hated that Pitfall game. I sucked at it. Those alligators, so bad.
I love Pitfall.
Really?
Yeah. So I, like Steve, am also an only child. And Atari was our console. So my first game, I was also horrible at Pitfall, but my mother was incredible at it. I was really good at the airplane flying game, whatever that was. I can't remember. River Raid. I think River Raid. Okay. And Centipede.
Hold on, it's called River Raid, but it's an airplane flying game?
Yeah, you fly over a river.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm unfamiliar
Sorry,
with that. So that's very weird.
You're flying over a river and you have to like dodge, like don't bump into the side of the river.
Right.
Obviously Centipede.
Yep.
And then Qbert was the big thing that my mom and I used to play together. And then my Aunt Joanne would always have like the Atari better than ours. So whenever I would go to visit her, I would get excited because I got like new games. And there was the Othello game where it was like it's like
White.
the flipping. Yeah. And she and I were like huge. That was like our game that we played together. So I didn't have like kids that I played with, but luckily the adults in my life were very open to gaming. My dad is an engineer. And so he was like, we're going to play this. This is cool. And I was like, okay, great.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was cool to be able to have that experience. And like, instead of just like sitting at home watching TV, we would like have game night.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But that didn't follow from like Atari to Nintendo to PlayStation or any of that?
It was Atari to Nintendo because I had to as an only child, I got whatever I wanted. But so I did have Nintendo because obviously I loved Mario and Duck Hunt. But what I got, I don't like the like progression games. I get bored. Right, even if it's a new level, I was just like, ugh, whatever. I like where I can like either like achieve something and be done, or I loved Duck Hunt. I would play Duck Hunt for forever. And then I had a DS and I had a GameCube where I played Crystal Chronicles, which was fun because that was a multiplayer. And it was a multiplayer too where there was a DS attachment. So you could have like your own personal like home screen for your character with all of your stats on it.
Whoa.
And then, but you were still all playing in the GameCube game on the TV. It was
I think we talked about this in the Nico episode, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good. Nico, let's play some Crystal Chronicles.
Him and Constantine were supposed to come in and play
Oh my
it or
gosh.
something.
Yeah. So, and then, I had friends. My friend John is a huge gamer. And so, we would play and he would always be like, Sega Genesis. And I just remember how Cartman said it. I'm going to get the new Sega Genesis. However he said it. That was a little more, whatever. Anyway.
The golden axe. The golden axe with those three. Anyway, sorry.
But
game.
I love fighting games. I am so good at Mortal Kombat. But people who actually memorize the combos hate me because I'm a button smasher that has a lot of good luck.
That's my username here is Button Smasher.
Oh my gosh. I don't know why. I can smash those buttons and shit will happen, and then people who actually understand get infuriated.
Have you ever played Smash Bros?
Nope.
We have to do that. We have to do that immediately.
Okay.
Because I think that you just basically rolling your face over the controller will probably destroy everybody else.
Oh, goodness. We talk
Challenge
a lot of
accepted.
shit about Smash Bros. Players around here, too. So that
for
just
sure.
rolls right into it. Perfect.
Absolutely.
So when you say you like fighting games, are you more familiar with fighting games on controller, or are you more familiar with stick and buttons?
I can do both.
Okay.
Anytime I would go to the movies, growing up, I would always take extra cash to play stick and button. Or what is that? What did you call it?
I don't know what it's actually called. I call it stick and buttons.
It's like
Arcade cabinet,
Yeah. I'm sure
Oh,
there's
with
It's like a cock and balls.
Yeah.
Right.
You're more familiar with the cock and balls
Yeah,
of the
I'm more
arcade.
familiar with the cock and balls of the arcade.
It's not here today, and I know it's been a while since you guys have been here, but the arcade usually has about 12 more machines out there, and
Yes.
they're mostly fighting games. So
Yes.
we'll have to get in on some of that action when Dave brings them back. He actually was supposed to bring them back at 6, so maybe he's out there. I don't feel his cool
got that
breeze.
X-Men game?
We don't have X-Men.
Okay.
That's at Barcade in Midtown, though, if you're into that.
Oh, it's okay.
Competitor.
Ours are a little bit more, one of a kind, not
Cool.
your typical Simpsons, whatever.
Appreciate that.
Oh, I did love the because the cock and balls version of the TM also TM.
I can't wait to make Jake make the graphic for this arcade stick that looks like a cock and balls.
The Ninja Turtle game because I loved because you could play with all four of you. And then also I just love Ninja Turtles, but always had to be Leonardo.
I know Life that for a while on the NES, I think it was, the original Nintendo system. I think I did. And I desperately was trying to win that game. I never got around to it, but we used to rent them at the video store.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you had to take them back after a week or something, and I would just try desperately to finish. No.
And the older stuff, like the save game was either not there or you had to type a code to jump levels
God.
and yeah.
Yep. I will just say one last thing before we get Jack back in here. We are old people talking about games. But I played. My mom was an Avon lady for a time when I was a kid because she's a single mom, and I don't remember anyone's name, but she had this young customer who I think maybe even lived in a trailer. Like, they were good people, whatever. And her like boyfriend or dude that lived with her had a Nintendo system before I did, and he had the Final Fantasy game, the original Final Fantasy game. And I remember watching him, and then it was all over. And I think he either let me borrow it, so maybe I had a system or whatever, but that was everything.
Yeah. So have you played all of them in the Final Fantasy world? No,
I stopped after a certain point, but I am very excited to play the remake of 7 on my PC.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of garbage with controllers with some things, and I don't really care. And
I can't even Final Fantasy is a game that I can't imagine on a PC. Like, the controller is just the way.
I've got controllers for my PC too. I've spent some my small disposable income on these things, and I will make it work. But I'm just so excited because it just will look awesome. It's just exciting. So many things that
my brother ranted and raved about when it came out, and I was player 2. So Final Fantasy VII was a game I'm holding the other controller for. However, anybody who knows, it's a single player game.
Yeah.
I'm just pretending to play while he plays. So, occasionally I would get my own save file on the memory card, and I would be able to run my own. But I would always get obsessed in Final Fantasy. There's always some kind of mini game or card game. So I remember playing with my brother, and we're playing at the Golden Saucer, and they're struggling on this Moogle game, and they couldn't get through it, and I just have no idea what I was doing. I just clicked yes or no over and over again. We got through it, moved on, and I felt so accomplished. They were like, "How did you do that?" And I was like, "You just got to be this good."
It is. You had your own special powers.
But I would get obsessed with Final Fantasy VIII, the card game. I would almost play exclusively that and stop the story. So I get very easily distracted when it comes to narrative games. Apparently, this is a therapy session for me.
No, I appreciate that. I played
brother.
The American versions of 2 and 3 desperately too, but so I'm just that generation, slightly older, where I played the shit out of those, and then I was in college, and so I didn't have time to play 7.
Yeah.
I saw it, I wanted to play it, but never bought a PlayStation of any kind. Well, until PlayStation 2, because I wanted to play Katamari.
PlayStation.
Do you prefer the PC?
I'm just so used to it now, but I've played a lot of Switch in this last year, and get used to things.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, COVID made me buy a Switch because of Animal Crossing. So, but then because micromanaging.
Oh yeah.
But now I just have it for when I want to play Mario Kart.
Those little
you can
controllers.
micromanage the cart. You got to do clean the wheels.
I don't.
gotta
I
turn
mean,
off the
I
bumpers.
love racing games. When I go to Dave and Buster's, I'm first in line for racing games, and then
Wait, do they
it's
have
the
the kind
cabinet
with the-
shooting. Yes, and then my second is the cabinet shooting games where you're inside, in the computer, the Jurassic Park booth, the booth,
the VR one.
and you're like, and they're surrounding you, and the velociraptors are
I've never been to David Buster's.
I mean, we have F-Zero in the hallway, but I think we need to get you on the VR Super Hot, because you will be literally in the matrix of one of those games.
Whoa.
Where they don't move until you move. So then you're controlling their actions, but you're grabbing guns and throwing stars and dodging bullets and stuff.
my God.
I think you'd be in heaven.
Oh. Where's that at?
The long-awaited, though. Let's hear from Jack on his history of gaming.
What was the question again?
Oh boy, who
The
remembers?
siblings.
Do you have any siblings? And then what's
Daniel.
your oldest gaming?
So I have an older sister. Her name's Cinnamon, and a younger brother named Daniel. I didn't really play video games too much with Cinnamon. We had the Super Nintendo when we were kids, and that was the Donkey Kong era, and that was cool. But we kind of grew out of that quickly, and what really got me hooked and the sibling involvement was my brother and I were at a family party many years ago, and my uncle had brought out this was in the original Xbox days, and he brought it out, and he had this modded hard drive on it, And on the hard drive, he had there was 4 different options you could choose from, and it said Atari, Super Nintendo, NES, and Sega Genesis. And so you click one, and then you just have hundreds of game titles for each of these platforms. So that's really that was where the love began. That's because then my brother and I ended up getting one of those. I don't know how they do it. I'm not really a tech person, but basically you just get a bigger hard drive for this console, and you can install all the games from these platforms on it, and it's wild. So that's that was that my brother and I would just be put on a random, pick a console, and then pick a random game. So I just remember playing all these insanely random games when I was a kid that were arcade style. Yeah.
Nice. So does your family at all still have any of the gaming gear or Synergy or any of that?
Yeah, my brother and I to this day still have that Xbox that has all those game files on. So occasionally we'll crack a cold one, go into Donkey Kong World or whatever.
What was the game that you said that you two played together over Christmas and you try to beat it? Was that the Revolver game?
That was Red Dead Revolver.
Okay.
Yeah, you go through and you beat it, and then it lets you, after you beat it, select a harder difficulty. So then we go and try to beat it on hard and get perfect scores, testing our sharpshooting abilities.
Wow. My brother and I did that with Metal Gear Solid 4. We put it on the hardest difficulty, and if you even get seen by an enemy, the game is over. You have to restart.
That game is insane. It's just all stealth. You're just sneaking around the entire game. It's
That
so
sounds
you have
terrifying.
you basically have to learn every enemy's pathway so that you're not in their line of sight, and then get through. And then when you finally do get to one of the bosses, you just have to be dodging every single one of their attacks, and then pop up one time, hit him in the head, and then do it again. Learn the patterns. That's what I think of when I think of a single player game. And I think that's why I don't play many single-player games, because that's why I'm just that's going to take a lot of energy. And I'll only put it on the hardest possible difficulty.
I have often been player 2, mainly to my friend John. He's a master at single-player games, but I was always player 2, where I would remember all, because I'm Memento, I would remember all of the tracks of the people, and I'd be no, you can't go here now. No, we have to go here, because that was what I liked doing without. It kept me involved and engaged, but without the responsibility of
Pressure.
it being on me.
Yep.
And so that was a great way for me to still feel like I was playing the game, being participatory, but.
Yes, that reminds me of stressful times playing Ghost Recon when I was a little kid. Did you ever play Ghost Recon?
Yeah, that was the only Xbox game that I had.
And we would play. My uncle had meticulously mapped out the game and remembered where the guys would be spawning in. So you'd just be walking through the forest, and then you'd hear him say, my uncle's be whisper, all right, there's gonna be 2 guys on your left. And oh my God, you couldn't play the game. So sometimes we would just go rogue just to mess with him. You know what I mean? What
just
can you
start
do?
firing into the air so that the guys are alerted, and then it's a firefight game instead of a stealthy.
That's YOLO.
But making it look like an accident. You know? Yeah.
Oops, I dropped the controller and then my gun went off. I missed that shot way over his right shoulder.
Yeah.
Alex, you talk about not having the patience necessarily for the story part. I don't have the patience for the memorization of all that nonsense. I just want to just and then go in there and just start attacking things. If I die, I die, but it's just YOLO. I've got to find out, Jack, have you played the Super Mario role-playing game on Super Nintendo?
No.
Last time we were here, you mentioned that was one of your favorite games, and the light bulb went off, and you need to play that game.
Okay.
I played it multiple times with college roommates where we would work together on it to get better scores. It's kind of sweet. It's very fun. It's unusual. It's just good times. And Nintendo has not equaled it, in my opinion, in terms of the fun story element to it.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
And they haven't built off of the great IP that they developed in it with Mallow and...
Right.
Oh, God, I can't remember.
Because it's with Squaresoft or something, isn't it? It's
What's
also...
the blue guy's name?
Oh, yeah. It's not Genji, is it?
That doesn't sound right.
It's something like that, though.
My podcast people are going to hate me for this.
The one here looks a little bit like a crow with in a blue cape or something.
Oh, yeah. Why can't I remember his name? Oh, this is the worst.
Not
Anyway,
Gonzo.
yeah, we can look it up real quick and pretend like we're totally going to remember it in a second. We did just have one of our members, Taryn, came through for 1 hour every week for like 5 weeks or 6 weeks, and he played through all of Super Mario RPG in his 1 hour time slot a week.
Wow.
Whoa.
It's dedication.
That's
dedication. Real dedication. Did you ever watch
Gino?
Any of you?
Gino.
Did you guys ever
I knew
watch the Angry Nintendo Nerd on YouTube?
No, I'm unfamiliar.
Oh man, there was this guy that would just do reviews of Nintendo games, and he would just get so mad about. I don't know if you guys ever played a game that was just so bad, but it has. So like for example, there's a Nintendo game version of Back to the Future, but
Marty.
you like open the game and there isn't Marty. There's none of that. It's this guy in a tank top. Like, when did Marty McFly ever wear a tank top?
When the fuck was he in a tank top?
He's wearing like a black tank top and he's like walking down the street and there's like bees attacking him.
What?
And like,
What plot point is that?
you have to exactly, and you have to like play through this game with all these crazy things like that. But it's just funny, like they basically just took the label of Back to the Future to market the game and called it Back to the Future. But the game literally has nothing to do with Back to the Future. I just think it's amazing that you could get away with that.
Yeah.
I think,
then.
back then you could probably just, we're like, we're going to build out a Back to the Future game. And then it's just like a reskinned game with just like different names or something, like quick programming.
Mm-hmm.
Marty.
They could put him into some like lavender-colored Calvin Kleins at least or something.
No, they didn't. There was a skateboard at one point, which, was fitting to the movie.
There
he
is
does
a
try to have
skateboard.
sex with his mom, too, but that was...
I mean, is that plot point in the game? Tell us, Jack.
No, actually haven't beaten it. It's really... So you go through...
Those bees.
You're walking past all the bees.
It's the hardest part of the whole game, I
bees.
swear.
And then...
Because your weapons are futile.
For real. The part where you get to the diner, like in the movies, is right after the long sidewalk trail. And then you get to the diner. And it's literally just impossible to beat. It's literally...
I gotta see somebody play this game now.
I mean, you need to go
Yeah.
88 miles per hour in order to get to the diner.
I wish it was that cool, Steve.
Your flux capacitor, some bananas to put in it,
Yeah.
No?
Your
Anyone?
hoverboard's got a big fire trail behind it.
Yep.
Oh, boy. Well, that's all the questions I got. You guys want to pitch anything else before we cut this thing?
I mean, come see the show. We'll remind folks of hashtag Superflute by Opera MODO, Friday and Saturday, February 18th and 19th at 7 p.m.
7:30.
7:30 p.m.
And then, we'll have cool VIP tickets where you can purchase to see the show. We'll also be having a costume contest to come cosplay as your favorite 80s arcade game characters.
And you'll be very welcome because we'll already be in costume for the show. So
Right.
it's not like you're going to be the only one.
Right.
So don't be afraid.
There's a guarantee that you are not the only one. See,
Yeah.
I think people would come in here dressed up more, but they're probably afraid.
Yeah.
We don't judge.
We don't judge. You are not alone. No? Too soon? Is R. Kelly in jail?
All right, well, that's our show. How do I end this thing again?
We did it. Hashtag Superflute. Oh, you have a thing.
This episode is not brought to you by SpaghettiOs. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.